Let's look at various ways to connect a computer to a switch so that we can configure the switch. Now, this will also apply to routers. So let's go ahead and start with a direct console connection between this PC and this switch. To do so, you do not need IP addressing. And the way you do this is you use a serial cable and serial interfaces that will allow you to run some sort of a virtual terminal on the computer that will give you access to the CLI of the device or the interface where you can enter your commands on the device that is the switch. So for this to happen, let's look at the switch quickly for a second. So let me double click on the switch. We can see that a switch, let me zoom in. From a hardware perspective, it has a console interface. This is where we will connect. On the computer side, and let's go to the physical side, it's not showing here, but typically what you would have on your computer are serial interfaces, where we have one here, but these are either USB or Ethernet, or sometimes you might have an RS-232 interface like a COM1 or COM2. I'm going to go with the example of COM1, COM2 for this particular interface that we're going to execute. So I'm going to go ahead and get a cable, and I'm going to pick a console cable. This is the traditional way that consoling was done. So you would go from here and you will pick the RS-232 and you go to the console interface for the switch. If we double click on the computer now and go to desktop and run terminal, which is the terminal emulation as if we are at the switch. For practical methods to do this, if you had a computer, you'll have to install Putty and run Putty. So let me go ahead and double click here or click here. You can see here that the attributes to this application are about serial communication. So you can see here we have bits per second, etc., etc. So no IP address scheme here at all. Let me hit OK. And you can see now that I have full view. Let me just make this a little bigger, of the Cisco switch having booted up, and it's ready to get started. So if I hit enter, as you can see, I get the prompt, and I can do an enable right here, show run, so I can actually access this switch as if I'm at the switch itself, right? So as you can see here are all my fast Ethernets. They should be down, nothing is connected. Let me hit Q to quit here, and I'm back to here, okay? So this is one way to access. The other way is to access through a network, which means you're going to have to utilize the network. And if you have to do that, you're going to have IP addresses on both sides. Now, on a computer, that's not an issue because your computer is a layer 3 device, so it's easier to set up an IP address. So what do you do on a switch, which is a layer 2 device? Well, for that, you're going to associate an IP address with a VLAN. Aha. What VLAN? Well, the default VLAN or virtual LAN or network that this device has is VLAN 1. We could use that for the purpose of accessing the device using IPv4, for example. Okay? So we will be seeing that in our next video.